following content contains personal experiences of our hosts and guests. We are not experts in this matter. We encourage challenging conversations with others and to achieve healing from our childhood. We hope to connect and allow a safe space to have an open discussion. It is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a qualified professional, diagnosis, or treatment. So, Las Tres Sisters.
Yes.
This movie is about the Mexican-American sisters going on a pilgrimage through Mexico, and they're going through this journey trying to mend their strained relationships while honoring their grandma's legacy, which also I love.
Yes.
That the ancestors, the matriarch. And played by Marta. Mendez Cross played Maria. Valeria
Maldonado.
Playing Lucia. And you, Virginia Novello, Sophia. And also, we need to talk about how you guys got Cristo
Fernandez from Ted
Kim.
Lasso.
Yes. Love him.
That was a fun delight to see.
Oh my God. Love Cristo so much.
Yeah.
This movie, I believe, also about creating, and I'll tell you how Cristo came on board on this.
Welcome back, First Gen podcast listeners. So good to have you guys with us. I'm one of your hosts, Nina Flores, joined by my cousin and co-host,
Tiffany Kristie. Welcome back, First Gen Feelers. Thanks
Welcome
for
back.
listening.
And we're so excited because we are joined by the lovely Virginia Novello.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me.
So excited to have you. Virginia, you and I were actually introduced by a mutual friend, Brent. Shout out, Brent. We love you so much.
Yes.
And you are a woman of many talents. And I love this. I can always appreciate this. Actor, screenwriter, storyteller, and your podcast as well, Orgasmica. And on top of that, a producer, which we will talk about your recent film, Las Tres Sisters, which Tiffany and I love. Just incredible film.
So good.
So good. And Tiffany and I, just coming from the entertainment world, we're all about representation. So one of the things we admire about this film is just your representation of Mexico and us seeing Mexico through a different lens, which is so refreshing from all the dark stuff that we hear and see all the time. So huge congratulations to you, your cast, your crew. We want to hear more about your journey in creating this film. But before we do that, we'd love to learn about you, Virginia.
Yes.
Where are you from and your background? So I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much for that introduction. And thank you for doing a podcast like this. It's so needed and so grateful to be here sharing this space with you guys. I am originally from Guadalajara, Mexico. A beautiful, amazing city. I moved to LA when I was 19. And I was supposed to be here for 1 year. And it's been many years later. My whole family's still there, so I'm the only one who migrated here, and I'm the only one of my family here. Which, it's a challenge, but thank God Guadalajara is not that far. It's only like a 3-hour flight, so I get to go every month and a half. Because when I started having nieces and nephews, I was like, they need to know me. I can't handle it if they don't know who I am. And so, I'm from there and migrated here. When I first moved here, I barely spoke English, very little. And I came here to study acting for film specifically because I did theater, a lot of theater while I was in Mexico. And that's how I started doing acting since I was 14. And just did a bunch of theater, and then I got cast in a movie, and then I realized, oh my God, this is so different. It's just very different styles of acting. So then I came to LA to learn that, the technique of acting for the film. And and then just kind of, I loved LA. My mom always said, you found your city full of weird, strange people, and you can dress however you want. And I'm like, that's right. Because, Guadalajara is a pretty conservative city, and it's I grew up Catholic and all that stuff. And so I was always kind of the black sheep, the weirder person, the one that had like dressed differently and like it was kind of
Relatable.
different. Yeah. Hashtag relatable who anybody has left. And so for me it was like, oh, I felt so free here. And I felt also that I got to know different people from different cultures and religions and countries, and that's one of the things that I love about this city, that it has so many cultures, and you can go to like Chinatown and like eat like such a rich original, and like here like love going to the wee spot. Like I just feel like I'm in Korea.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like
Korean
love all of
body
that.
scrub. Okay.
Yeah, the best body
so
scrubs
good.
So good,
ever. I didn't know what a body scrub was, and then I went there. I was like, oh, what a surprise!
My
This
life
is.
has changed the moment I did that. I was like, I'm reborn.
It's so amazing. It's so amazing. And then, I also felt my culture was here in a very big way. And, just go to Olivera Street and you can go to El Mercado and like you hear your own language. And so even though I was far away from it, I still felt like a part of my own culture was here. And so then I ended up just staying. I had all the visas in the entire world. I almost got deported once. That's a whole other story. In LAX, where they put me into the down, I don't know if it's a prison. It's a considered prison. I don't know. But I was there for 16 hours.
No.
They were questioning me for 16 hours because they thought I was a mule because I was going back and forth a lot.
Oh my goodness.
And it was very scary. And I've been in so many, all the visas and all the things. And I also can really to sympathize with what's going on in this city and this country right now, because it is a very scary place to be. And I was a person who was privileged to know the language and have access to a lawyer and all that stuff, and other people are not, and it's very, very scary. Yeah. So that's in a nutshell. Well, and then I started writing. The situation about when I started coming into the acting world in LA is that people wouldn't hire me as a Latina. Because the ones that are hearing this podcast and not watching this podcast, I have blue eyes. And people are like, you cannot be Mexican with blue eyes. And they will just not give me roles or even let me auditioning for roles, even though those roles were very limited as to like the maid or the mistress or that type of roles. And so I said, F that, and I'm just going to write my own.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that
You
power.
pave the way.
Woo!
Yeah,
exactly.
If it's not there, you write it.
Yeah.
You
You do.
make
You
it.
create it.
You create it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one can stop you now.
Well, even if they tried, because they have tried. And I'm like, I don't care. I'll keep going. Yeah.
Oh, well, I love that. I love that you're here with us and chatting this through. We also wanted to talk through the film, the latest film that you were in, and again about authentic storytelling and paving the way to create these stories that others have not given that light to.
Yeah.
I would love to hear a little bit more. Actually, first off, if you haven't seen this film, we are going to dive into Las Tres Sisters. So please go watch it. Get on your streaming network, your device. Go watch it right now. And then come back and listen to the rest of this pod. But definitely check out this film. I want to chat through, because I know this wasn't an overnight thing. This was a process. I would love to hear a little bit more on writing and that writing journey, and also just putting in all, the authenticity of showing Mexico in a different light.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're going to talk more about this film. So let's start there.
Okay.
And how was the writing process in that journey? Because I think I read somewhere it was also a healing process as well.
It was very healing. So the whole process from writing to seeing this movie in theaters was 9 years. So it was 9 years. 9 years. Paving the way sometimes takes a little time.
Oh,
you know
yes,
what I mean?
absolutely.
Specifically when people fight you along the way, and you have to keep believing and pushing these boundaries of like, no, we want our movie to be bilingual, and they're like, there's no way, pick a language. There's no that your movie cannot be bilingual. I'm like, well, it's gonna be. So move over, but it does take a long time. So I wrote it with Marta Cross and Valeria Maldonado. These are my two partners, my two sisters who play the other two characters. It started as a short film. It was a short film that me and Valeria wrote, and then Marta was 8 months pregnant and she directed it. Wow. And we did an Indigo campaign and we raised $6,000, and it was supposed to just be a scene, but we turned it into a short. And I have worked with Marta previously. We had done some comedy sketching and stuff like that. And she was very scared. It was her first child. She was very scared because the industry told her, you cannot be a mom and still be a creative. And you cannot be an actress and be pregnant or be a mom. And so unless you're very famous and you already have an established career. And so she was very scared. And I said, direct this. She had already directed something. So she started directing it. And then was a very important person who came in. His name was is. Didn't kill him. This process almost did, but hey, he didn't. Gonzalo Ruiz de Velasco. He was is a producer in Mexico, and he saw the short. He invested in the short, and he said, "This is a feature. You guys need to make it into a feature." And we were like, I've never written a feature. I had only written shorts, so did Marta. And Valeria, this was the first thing that she ever wrote. So we were like, I don't know how to, I don't know the structure, ways of it. But we decided, okay, if he thinks that that's something that we should be doing. So we did a treatment of it. We knew we wanted a road trip movie, but walking. So it was like, okay, pilgrimage makes sense, even though we didn't want it to be a religious movie. So we were trying to stay away from the religious aspect of a pilgrimage. But it's a good way of showing the country and specific parts of the country. And so we knew that it was about three sisters that were Mexican American. And we knew that it was going to be about the healing of these relationships. But one thing that we had very clear is that the three of us had very different experiences of what it is to be a Latina in this country. And so we wanted to add that too. Not just because you are in the same or grew up in the same family, that doesn't mean that you have the same experience of what an immigrant is, of what your own language and your country, because also your parents grow and, the first child has one experience, the middle child has a different experience, the third child has a whole other experience. And so we kind of wanted to put that, that these three sisters have a different experience with the language, with Spanish, and with Mexico. And that's something that we had very clear. And another point that was very clear we wanted to make was, let's show Mexico in a beautiful way. So we're not going to mention or put narcos in there, like drug dealing or women disappearing. Not that it's not a part of what happens in my country, but the media has just put attention, and the media in general, right? Like with news and with whatever people decide to focus on, it feels like that's the only thing that Mexico becomes. And every country has its light and its dark. And, because Hollywood takes place in this country, usually, it's like the United States is always the hero of the world. And in the apocalypse, they are the ones that are saving us for and it gives you a different perspective of okay, yes, this, but also this. Right. And I feel like as many movies that they have about narcos or shows about, the everything that happens, there has to be as many as the beautiful things of that country. And I'm talking about all countries. There has to be a balance because movies informed us a lot into how we treat other cultures and how we see other people. Because a lot of people never leave either their house, their country, their city. And so if they don't have an experience from another culture, like one-on-one, they're just going to see these movies and that's the representation that they're going to have. And that's the idea that they're having about that, right? And so many people, for our wedding, for example, a lot of people from Texas. My husband is Texan. And so we're like, are you sure? But Mexico's so unsafe. And I'm like, have you ever been? Right. No. So it's only what you hear in the news. Yes. Okay, well, maybe you should come over and like watch and experience
Experience it yourself.
Yeah, of course, I'm not going to take you to the like dangerous part of the town, but also I'm not going to take somebody in LA and like go to Skid Row, have a stroll at midnight. You know what I mean? Like every city, every city has its own thing. And so you have to kind of be smart about it. But it's just a representation of something that is not out there so much. And so the script changed so much because we wrote it for 6 years. Unintentionally. It's not like we were like, let's write it for 6 years. It's like every year we're like, this is the year. And then it wasn't. And then a studio wanted to buy the movie from us. And we were like, oh my God, it's a big studio. Yes. But then they didn't want us to be the actresses for it. And then they didn't want us to have any writing credit. Yeah, so they just wanted to keep the movie. And we were like, no, it's just not going to happen. And so we had to walk away, even though they offered us a lot of money for it. But it's
Well,
okay.
good for you and the team to stick through it. It's just like, this is the authentic storytelling.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you guys are going to do this right. So, like,
Yeah.
we're going to authentically share the story
Yeah.
the way that we have perceived it, because y'all are going to butcher it,
Yeah. Well, we
and-
say it, they whitewash it. I mean, because I've seen so many shows that, Marta talks about a beautiful story she was cast in, and the pilot was like so authentic, so beautiful, and by the time it went to network, it was so extremely whitewashed. Just like it lost its magic. It only lasted a season because you have to compete and fight for your ideas, but the powers that be have the say, and a lot of them is like, if you want to play, and so we kind of gave up into doing it from a studio because we knew what we were fighting against. So we were like, let's do it independently. So we looked, and there were many times that were like, yes, and then no. And then there was a specific one that was so close, and we were like, yes, this is going to happen. And then it didn't happen. And that one, like, took me down. I was like, I don't think I can do this anymore. This is so hard. It's like, it's just so, and thank God that we're 3. Honestly, if it was 1, I don't know how people that do it on their own do it, because it requires, when you're down emotionally, physically, or spiritually, that somebody goes, no, we're doing this still. And I will take the lead now, and that you can rest for a second, because fighting for a story for that many years, it's exhausting. It becomes like exhausting to try to explain to somebody, why is it important that we have more movies that have a bilingual, tone, and like they speak about this and that, and like it's exhausting to be able to fight this fight. And so you do need a whole lot of community to be like, keep going. Like, it's fine. You have to keep making the stories. They're important. Yes, we're not curing cancer. It's not the end of the world. But at the same time, they are important. Like, art is important on a spiritual level since the beginning of humans. You know what I mean? They will draw on the freaking caves. Like, there's a reason why we need to express either what has happened or our own experience of the world through our own eyes. And it could be similar to other movies, but your experience is your own. And even though the 3 of us, especially because the 3 of us had very different experiences, we wanted to add the different experiences. We didn't want to have a unified voice with these characters. It's like bringing your experience. It's like Maria butchers the language, and that's actually how Marta talks. That's how she speaks. Like, she really, really tries hard to speak Spanish, and then she ends up saying some so stuff that we would be like, how would you say this, Marta? And that's how we would write it on the script, And, and the whole thing about las piedrotas, which they're actually these amazing stones in Tapalpa. She kept calling them during the shooting. She kept saying las piernotas, which means the legs. And I'm like, no, Marta, it's las piedrotas, which means the rocks. But she was like, oh, we went to las piernotas. And so we added that into the movie.
That's so funny.
Because we're like, we just need to keep these things. And because it took so long, it gave us space to grow with the project. So the more that we went deep into our lives, into therapy, into our own relationships, into our own healing, we were able to put all those things in there. And so we didn't let the script just be at a certain level. It's just kind of the script grew with us. So it became a deeper thing. At first, it was just more broad comedy, like Bridesmaids type of stuff. But then it kind of just started, the more depth we got, the more he got in there, and the more issues we saw in the world, and like the kids getting caged, and we were like, we need to add some of that, and we need to add like, you know, also the holistic stuff that I was doing. Like I love the temazcales, and let's add the temazcal in there, and so it just started growing with us.
Yeah.
We were just talking about it. Like that was one of our favorite scenes.
It was, yeah. It was so hilarious, but also I'm curious because I didn't know anything about it. So I'm like, oh, I want to experience that now.
God,
I want to sweat it out, confront my fears.
Confront those inner feelings. And then,
have you guys been to something like that?
no, that's why.
Oh, that's why
so
we're like,
inspired.
oh, I know.
Do we need to go in there?
Like, I need that cleanse.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Everybody needs to experience one at least. You know, in the northern indigenous communities, they have the sweat lodges, which they do in teepees. And in Mexico, we do the temazcales, which which is like a hot lodge, but it's supposed to be the womb of the woman.
Oh,
and so you're supposed to enter there to die and be reborn again. Because and it's, as to in the movie, we couldn't do it like that, but you are in a pitch black, like you can't see anything.
Oh.
You can't see a thing, and then you just enter this hot stones in the middle, and there's shamans like singing and praying, and you're just like handling this, like it gets hotter and hotter because they get more stones as they go.
Oh, wow.
It's like it gets more and hotter, and you're there almost 3 hours, 4 hours.
I was gonna say, how long are you?
Yeah,
Oh.
and they open the
You
doors
hydrate?
to get more. You hydrate before and then you hydrate after, but you cannot go in with water.
Oh, wow.
And so it confronts you, A, the dark, B, you know, like you're just there and like sweat and like screaming and yelling and doing all the things. And, but it's just it's just, part of the culture, part of this mysticism that also Mexico has from our roots, you know, from before we were colonized, that I wanted to also implement. And we wanted to show also the mysticism of what it is. I feel like every culture has that. Yeah. And every time I see a movie that explains to me certain types of like the mysticism of cultures, I love it so much. I'm just like,
same.
tell me more, tell me more.
Yeah, that's why we're so into it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Should experience that.
I know.
I think I wrote a note about it. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, tell me. That is so fun.
Because I think, rebirth, you die and like go and get reborn. I think in the movie it mentioned also you have to like ask your ancestors before going in, like permission. How is that? Is that a prayer beforehand? Like
so you just ask, you just lean to the ground. So every temazcal is different because it depends on the region. So this specific temazcal that we did was from a tribe that I go with, that are amazing and beautiful and so loving. And I asked their permission. I was like, I think I want to put this in the movie, can I? And they were like, absolutely, do it. Like, show the world. And so you have to go in with skirts as women and with... and then you grab some, what is it? Tobacco. And you kind of pray to the four, signs? What is it? North, east, what is it called?
Oh, the compass? Or like,
but like use, like, and so every one of them means something. It's like, so the north is like to the ancestors of this, the south, I don't know exactly what. And then you pray to the earth, you thank the earth, and then you put those into the fire. It's kind of like you give to the fire. And then you enter with a lot of like drums and stuff, but you have to ask, it's like, I ask permission from my ancestors. I ask permission to enter for me and all my ancestors because we are carrying our ancestors with us. And so a lot of the healing that happens, a lot of the generational stuff that goes on is I'm bringing not just me, but I'm bringing me and the whole line that is behind me. So I'm not just asking permission for me, I'm asking permission for them to come through in here. And we are going to work, they're helping me work through some stuff and letting go of some stuff because they always carry me and they're with me. And that is kind of the
That's
reason.
beautiful.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. I really like that.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was also the catalyst to get to the miracle in the pilgrimage.
Yes.
It's like that was the turning point.
Yeah.
To wake up like, hey, the reality of these strange relationships that they're trying to heal and find forgiveness, like that opened up The can of worms, really.
It did. It did. It was kind of like a lot of the unspoken things started to come out. You know, just like there's some tension there. Why is happening? Why is it happening? You know, usually people do that with drinking. You know, this is in a healthier way, but stuff comes out. You know, things that you're like, oh wow, I sort of knew that that's how you felt, but now I really know that that's how you feel, and like, how do I feel about how you feel? You know, and it's like in a contained space when, and I love, like, one of my favorite lines. It was the shaman saying, you know, because they're all screaming and yelling, and they're just like singing.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, that's great, because you keep going. And one of the things it says, like, pain. You don't ignore pain, you go through it. And so she keeps saying to them, you know, it's like, that's right, that's the medicine. Like, go through it. Like, she sees them screaming and yelling and it's not scared by it. She's like, that's where it's at.
Yep.
You fix it by feeling it, going through it, screaming, yelling, whatever it is that you need to do, go through that.
Absolutely.
Don't run from the pain, run through it. You basically have to embrace and confront that entity.
Yeah.
And keep going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Or you're going to be stuck.
Exactly. Exactly. You just get stuck, you know, like you can try to run as much as you want, but it's going to catch up with you at some point. You know, I think we all experience that because we have all experienced I don't know, no, this is not a good time for me to deal with this stuff. Like, I don't want to open this part of myself, like, you know, or a relationship or a thing. And then it will come out. It's not an option. It will happen. You have a choice how to handle it. Either if you let it fester and it will come out in a stronger, and sometimes it comes out to the person that didn't do anything, you know, or you decide to be brave, because it takes a kind of courage to know that you can get through pain and still be okay. That pain is not going to kill you. That it's going to be uncomfortable and it is going to be painful. But there's a moment that you feel like, I feel like if I let all my feelings out, I'm going to die from this pain or this feeling or this sadness or this resentment. And it might feel that way, but it doesn't. And that's why you need tools to hold you, you know, while you go through those things. But yeah, that's one of the things that we learned in that process, you know, because we all went through a lot of stuff. Like, my marriage almost fell apart while I was writing, and not because I was writing, it's just other circumstances. Marta had 2 children, and she was going through extreme anxiety, like, and postpartum intense. And then during the process too, Valeria's mom was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and she ended up passing away 3 days after we stopped filming.
Oh, wow.
She kind of was waiting for it, which was such a good gift from Donna, because I felt like she waited, you know. And we were with her when her mom passed away. And so all of that, it's in there. You know, we're like, we're going to hold each other. We are going to be there for one another in all these moments. And we're going to put it in the movie, because if it's healing for us, it's healing for others.
Absolutely.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And important too. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Got another layer of like this we got deeper. I was like, oh my god, this film is beyond incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Where do I go from here?
I know, right? I know.
We can go all so many places. You keep asking me, I'll take you.
I know.
And I love what you said earlier. You know, you're like, we still got to tell these stories. It's not like we're curing cancer. And we felt that way with this podcast. We're like, who wants to listen to this? We talked about this for years, like 3-4 years we've been talking about this. And then we're like, you know what?
We
took the leap and we did it. Yes. And no, not everyone's going to love it. And not everyone's going to hate it. But we were creating a safe space, a community to talk about these things. So I'm so happy to hear that you're doing the same thing. And we admire that about you and your work and what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. It has definitely hurt. Somebody told me, he's like, we should all strive for the confidence of a white male in this world. And I'm just like, yeah, because they don't freaking think about it, right? They just fucking go and
just
like,
do
I'm
it.
going to create a YouTube channel, la la la. I'm going to talk about nonsense and stupid shit. And I'm just going to say anything that comes out of my, and we're like, there's something meaningful that I need to say in this world, but let me think about it. Are people going to like it? Are we going to like, and I feel like that is a lot of the work that we need to do because it's internalized oppression. I do believe that, And
Totally.
so the more I'm like, what am I doing a podcast about sexuality? Because that was another thing for me that I had to overcome when I came into this world, because I'm a tantric teacher as well. So I teach and talk about sexuality with the podcast, and I do retreats and I do other things. And I told you I come from a very conservative
I was just going to say,
Catholic.
yep.
So why did you
How
think
did they
my
take
parents
that?
loved that? They loved it. Oh my God. My mom till today is just like, can you not change the name of your podcast, please? I'm like, no, Mom, I cannot. So I was very scared, and not only because of my family, because I understood that, and I live far away. I think there's a reason to what I do. It's because I get to do all these things without feeling the judgment and the straight. Although they're always being very, very supportive, but it's hard for them, and I understand. But also, I was like, I cannot be living in my sexuality, being a sexual woman, and being in the entertainment industry. Because I had experiences in this entertainment industry where my sexuality was weaponized. And I had a hashtag Me Too moment, and on a set when I was a production assistant. And I was so excited to be there because it was an Academy Award director. And I was just like, yes. And then I was not even an actress, but they definitely tried to manipulate me. And somebody said, it's just because of the way you are. And I was like, what does that mean? It's how you walk, it's how you move. You're just very sexual and you're inciting this. And even though I understood that was bullshit, I don't know if I can curse here. I'm sorry. I
you
curse.
can.
Please.
Okay.
Do it.
I curse a lot.
Yes, do it.
Do not censor.
I'm like, even
Be
though that
free.
was it was fucking bullshit. That's what it was. My body couldn't help to internalize that. So I started gaining weight. I started to just not be out there and being like, oh, wow, I did so much on that set. I was there. I was the first one to be there. I carried equipment across a river in the middle of the jungle. You know what I mean?
Man.
And they were like, oh no, what you're known for is going to be this, because the DP made out that I slept with him, which was not true, and nobody questioned it. And I was like, you guys didn't question it. You were my friends. They were like, well, it's just because you are just such a sensual, sexual human being. And I'm like, wow. And so my body and my unconscious decided that being who I am and being a sexual woman, and what that means is not like I'm fucking around or I'm sleeping with a bunch of people. It means that I am okay being in my sexuality, that I am fine just walking the way I do. And that is a very dangerous thing. And then I learned, oh, a woman in their sexuality is a dangerous woman, and men will weaponize that. And I was very scared to then, when I came into this world, I didn't want to teach it. I did it for my own self because I was going through a lot of that stuff, because I completely shut down sexually, just nothing. Brad Pitt could have been in front of me and I'd be like, no, thank you. And that's a lot to say. And I just didn't know what to do with that. And so I started and the doctors were like, no, there's nothing that you can do. I got vulvodynia. Do you guys know what vulvodynia is? Your vulva fully closes off.
Oh.
Fully. You cannot even get a tampon in.
Oh my goodness.
And the doctor said there's nothing wrong with you. And I'm like, well, obviously there's something, because my body.
Right. Yeah.
Something's happening.
Yeah.
And I was married. So that's what's a crumbling of my relationship in that sense, because I didn't want to. And our relationship was very based on sexual chemistry. And when we didn't have that, everything kind of was falling apart. And I was like, well, there's something obviously happening and I need to figure out what this is. So I went into this journey of finding, my body, and also part of our culture of criticizing our own bodies. And the Mexican culture, I don't know about you guys, but the Mexican culture is very I come into the freaking door oh my God, you gain a couple pounds. Like,
Oh, we relate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I started being like, oh, the voices in my head are not mine. They're theirs. And theirs are somewhere from and passing along. It's like, what if I was in an island by myself? Would I think that cellulite is wrong, or like my big tits are like something wrong with them, or like, like, no. And so what do I really think about my body without all these voices? So I started doing a lot of that work, and then I went into getting certified as a tantric teacher. But again, I didn't want to teach it. And then my friends saw the change, and they were like, teach us. And I was like, okay, I only will teach you guys. And then it kind of like spiraled into, and then somebody said, why would you not share this with the world? What the hell? And I was like, I'm just too scared. Like, I have to give up acting. And the movie was happening, and I was like, the movie is gonna get canceled because I'm doing this. And they were like, no, it's not. And so I kind of now learn how to unify it, because sexual energy is creative energy. It's the same. It's the energy of creation. It's where everything gets created from, like life, but also my projects are created from sexuality. And what sexuality is, like being awakened in my senses. That's what sexuality is to me. It's like being fully alive. And that means feeling it all. That means I receive the pain, I take it, I alchemize it, the pleasure, the joy, everything that comes from being a human being in this world, which I have decided to be, awakened and alive, then that's what I'm going to be. And so I alchemize it in different ways by creating something, right? By like writing a script or writing a movie or writing a book or creating a podcast. And it all coming from that energy once I made the peace with it. But it took a long time for me to do that, and having the Mexican roots and the Catholic upbringing and all of that, I had to fight with my own self about the oppression of unspoken women. And why are women not speaking more from this space? And why are women not speaking about sexuality in this way? And being like, I have to make peace with the oppress inside of me in order for me to just come out of the world and be like, I don't care. I'm going to have a podcast, and it's going to be called Orgasmica. And as you saw in the movie, my character is also very sexual.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see a body type like mine being a sexual being. And so it's always kind of like fighting with it, but at the same time, not letting that fear or that oppression stop me. Because I think that is the point. We all, especially as women from cultures and women, we have it a lot, and so it's just like we feel it because we all have it, but don't let it stop you.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. I love how courageous you are.
Thank you.
Saw those barriers, but you're like, nope, this is me. I'm going to keep pushing forward. And the representation too, like someone can see you on the screen. And this is why we love talking about representation matters.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of these stories. And again, growing up out here, not seeing people that look like us on the screen, like now there's these opportunities, whether, going the indie route or hopefully some studios bank on it and put those stories out there. But the fact that it is out there and it's accessible on our devices now, I think storytelling and sharing these stories are very important.
Thank you.
Because, I think it's going to inspire the next generation. And also, you could finally feel seen.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You finally feel seen.
Yes.
And I applaud you for pushing those boundaries.
Thank you.
And,
you guys did the same.
not gatekeeping it either. And
Yeah.
you're like, hey, this is something I could share with
Yeah.
the rest of the world,
Yeah.
and not just the collective group. So...
Yeah, I think we all have those moments, and you guys also are doing it. So thank you. Thank you for doing your part. I think for me, it's like that's the internal revolution. It's like speaking up, even though when we're scared, and saying the thing, even though we're like, should we say, because we question ourselves so much.
Yeah.
It's like so questioning. It's like, is this interesting to anybody? Like, it's like, is anybody going to relate to this movie? One of the things that we had is like, does anybody going to think this is funny? Because we had a blast writing this. We were laughing our asses off every day. We thought it was hilarious. And we're like, wait, is anybody else going to think it's funny? but that doesn't matter, because what we wrote is from our experience. And so I cannot write for like the everybody, right? It's like, and it's not a movie for everybody, and some people are not going to like it, and I'm totally okay with that. It's just mostly like, if you get in touch with that of like, this is me and this is my essence, and it's scary putting it out in the world, something that you have worked on for so long, and it was kind of, it's not like it was our secret, but it was kind of just our HUD, that we were just like, oh, this is great. Even when we edited it, we gave it to, the first time that we screened it, it was in Raindance in London. And we were so scared, because we're like, I don't know, man, like British people are not our audience for this. They have a very different type of sense of humor. And most of there were men in that screen room, and we were so scared. And oh my God, were we surprised. Like, London was like one of the best experiences of my life, because it's the first time that we saw people seeing the movie, and they were laughing, they were crying, we did a Q&A after, and they like grabbed the mic and they were like, this is one of the best movies I've seen since Thelma and Louise. And we were like, what the hell? I am glad somebody recorded it, because I was like, am I dreaming this? Am I making this up in my head right now? And it was wonderful. And we're like, oh, it's a universal theme, even though we did it as like the Mexican, American, Latino experience, it could have been any culture.
Yep.
It could be any immigrant, any type of culture. And we all have so much in common in our experience as immigrants, or as building a different world in our own culture, in our different country. And then coming back to the origin of country, that you kind of feel fish out of water. And we met so many people that were like, I don't feel from there or from here.
Yep.
They feel in the middle.
In between.
In between.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, we're writing for them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's who we're writing for.
And it is relatable, because it doesn't, you don't have to be Latinx in that sense. It's like this movie was embracing your roots, and wherever your family of origin came from, like, you are still learning the language, like, and I love that with the sisters, they all had different, I want to say, like, levels of fluency in Spanish, and you showed all that. Like, one, your character lived in the country, whereas for Maria, she's like testing it out, and she's trying, which is great. And then Lucia, the youngest sister, she was a perfectionist. She did not want to try, because she might butcher it, but she understands it fluently. So it's just like all of those different levels. It's like we could relate to that. It's like we
100%
know Tagalog to a certain level, and going back to the home, the motherland, the country. Yeah. You're embracing those roots, and I think there's respect for that. In its own. And trying to understand, like, are you really, Filipino, or are you American Filipino? Like, that in between has been always like a struggle. And
how do you guys feel? Do you feel both? Do you feel in the middle? Do you feel more one way or the other?
I think for me, just growing up in the Midwest, I always thought, just being around all Caucasian people, I was like, I'm white.
Right.
Then I come out here, and people are saying, no, you have to like learn the language. Like, why are you not Filipino enough? But I grew up in this environment where my parents just wanted us to fit in and assimilate, So it's not like my fault necessarily. Yeah. And then I'm trying to like speak the language, and then I get made fun of. Oh, you don't have the right dialect or accent. So I always felt stuck. It was like an identity crisis, which we saw in this film too. And it's funny, because I was telling Tiff before you came, the character I relate to the most is Lucia. Like, everything that happened to her, quitting her firm, which is what I did last year, and she's such a perfectionist and the type A. And I'm like, oh my gosh, everything she was feeling in that movie, and the self-discovery towards the end, that was so me. So I guess, what you mentioned earlier, it's like, are people going to be able to relate to this? But there's so many elements of just being human in this movie. And we can all relate to that. So I think that's really just the beauty of this movie, is like, you're showing the culture, but also we're all human. Yeah. And we can't go through this journey together. Like you said, if it was just you and not three, you would have given up.
Oh, yeah.
So I think as women, as people, we have to not just look at each other as competition. I know everyone's so competitive, but we need to collaborate, work together, lift each other up, because all the times I kept telling myself last year when I quit a really great job at a Fortune 500 company, I was like, I don't think I can be an entrepreneur. I don't know if I can do a podcast. Everyone, when I kept saying, no, I can't, the people around me said, yes, you can.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and that was enough to keep me going.
Yes. And you have
So-
such a great voice. For
Oh,
podcasting.
thank you.
I do love your voice for
Thank you
podcasting.
so much.
Yes. So I'm sure your listeners are loving that you're in this space because I love your voice so
Oh,
much.
thank you so much.
Yes, I think that is one of the things that I had fought in this industry the most is that, especially as an actor in the entertainment industry, they program you that we are each other's competition. That if somebody's getting a role, you are going with your friends out for the same role, right? And so it's like somebody's going to get it. And so immediately you are in this competition world. And I didn't subscribe into that. I'm like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like how it makes me feel. I don't like the feeling of it. It's sticky. It's not okay. I have one friend that she's such an amazing, she's an actor and she books so many shows and so many things. And she has told me before, she's like, you are the only friend in my life that I don't feel a sense of jealousy at all when I book something. I don't know if it's something that I don't have or I did have and I work through, because I honestly don't. When somebody gets something, I am extremely excited for them. It feels to me that it feels like I got something too. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I want all the women in my life to book it. Like, let's raise each other up. Like, the more you are up, the more, you bring us up. The more I am up, I'll bring somebody else up. And like, that's how I feel. That's the sense of community. That's something that I got from my culture. That's one of the things that I will say. That my culture is very community based, and it is very like we need each other. And there's and then the U.S. My experience of it at first was everybody's very individualistic, and I had a really hard time with that at first. And then I learned a lot from it too, aka like boundaries. I didn't know those existed. My culture, there don't have any. There's none. I didn't experience them ever. And then people hear like, there's boundaries. I'm like, what? What is this?
No, this is a
Explain to
collective
me.
effort, I thought.
How can I have them? And so I did, and I was like, oh wow, yes. And so I can get certain things from here and there, but also that part of the individualistic side of here is that everybody's kind of in their own raft. And I'm just like, no, can we all be in rafts together? Yes, we can have boundaries, but not too many boundaries to the point where we're an island on our own. You know what I mean? I'm like, there is such a thing as too many boundaries, in my opinion, where people are like alienating themselves because they're just like, no. I'm like, okay, like, where's the axis of like, can we do this together? Can we support each other? We need each other. We're the world. That's how we were supposed to be. And I heard somebody saying the other day that the way that we were supposed to live now with the way that we live, right? Which is like, yes, we have more resources, we have more space, we have more whatever, we have more people, we have more access to many things. And now the things that we're so used to have, now we have to pay for them, right? Like childcare and like community something. Anything that you want to do with communities, like a workshop of this costs money, like, right? Like women's circles, so like all these things, that used to be like free that we just do in the backyard.
As a collective.
Yes.
As the village,
Yes.
you're all in this together.
Yeah. Totally.
And then now we've been severed where, we're in our
where
little...
only through money you have access to the thing. And it's like sad. And now everybody's like lonely as hell because like there's no access to it. And like, no, let's go back to that. Like to me, I'm like, it's part of community, you know? To me, it's like, I'm so community based into the sense like, I don't have hierarchy with like my husband or my friends. Like to me, I put effort the same into both of those relationships because I need them both. I don't like, I'm never a person that has locked herself in the relationship, meaning like I have a boyfriend and I disappeared, you know, 'cause a lot of my friends did that. They're like, oh, I haven't heard from her in 6 months because she had a new relationship. I was like, no, I need my friends. I need my community. And I think part of it is because I was here by myself. Like, I did not have my family. And so my community became an extension of who I am in that sense. Yeah.
Your chosen family here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
collective,
Yeah.
collective unit.
Yeah.
You can't do this all on your own sometimes.
You
You know,
can't.
You
so
can't.
you gotta.
Neither should we
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
forced to, you know? That's exhausting.
It is
too
very
much.
exhausting.
Yeah.
Lean on each
Mentally
other.
exhausting.
We gotta
Yeah.
help each other out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Help each other out.
I believe that at certain points, I'm going to get woo-woo for a second. But at a certain points, I felt like the movie was its own entity. I feel like it was its own spirit. And I say that after many, many years of writing it. And then kind of we were trying to impose certain things on the movie. And the movie was like, nah, I don't think so. And we had 3 different directors. And they kept like, something happened and they would pop off. And then another director was already in pre-production. And then she ended up having to walk away 5 weeks before we started shooting.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
And then Novello came into the picture, which was beautiful and amazing. And then at the Guadalajara Film Festival, so the Guadalajara Film Festival was like in July, and we were shooting in October. And we didn't have Kin, we didn't have the character. And we had sort of like seeing another actor, and then Valeria had mentioned like, oh, wouldn't it be great, Cristo, for this role? And we're like, he's never gonna, he's in the Tonys right now. He's like never gonna pay attention to us. So then at the festival, he walks in, and Mar just like shoots and goes,
Yes.
oh my God, I need you to be like in this movie, like we'll send you the script, like we're shooting in a month and a half, like, and he's like, oh yeah, I mean, I'll read it, yeah, and we were like, okay, amazing, but we already had offered Enron to another actor, and so it was kind of tricky, and we were like, oh my God, he's so great, and so we had him audition for the producers because we were like, we need to convince him that he is the right guy, and so it was like, is he, isn't he? And he was so nice because he's like, even if I'm not, if I can help you guys like in any way, like I love this story. I think it's an amazing story. I think you guys should do it, whatever I need to. We got funding, private funding from a Guadalajara investor, which was like so wild. It was so wild to me that this movie ended up shooting in my city.
That's amazing.
Because it wasn't written like that. It was written to another pilgrimage somewhere else. And then all of a sudden, it was there. And I'm like, oh my God. Which was so fun because all of us, some of us, like the sisters and I, we stayed in my parents' house for the first part of the shooting of the movie. So it was kind of like a commune. We were like in a commune together. So then we offered him, but it was like, oh, I don't know if I can do it, like scheduling and all the things. And all of a sudden he did jump in, and he not only jumped in as an actor, but he then wanted to be an executive producer of it as well.
Oh, incredible.
And so we were like, absolutely, like, yes, let's make it happen. And so he was such an incredible Ken. He was, and of course, like in Mexico and like in Guadalajara specifically, everybody knows each other. So he ended up being like, his sister was best friends with my cousin. And then my brother played soccer with him once upon a time. And like, you know, all these things that were
That's
connections.
amazing. Yeah.
That were connections
so cool.
that I found out later. And then, yeah, he did the movie, and he also opened a bunch of doors. And, you know, we all are a group of women because Denise Prieto, who's the producer, she went to high school with me and ended up becoming one of the best producers in Mexico. And so she produced this movie. And so we are like women director, producers, bunch of women, but I also have to say that there were men that were pushing for also this story, and they didn't want to take over. And that was such a beautiful experience that I rarely get to see or experience when they're not like, okay, yes, I help you, but then I'll have all my says and all my notes and all my things, and like, you do as you, because I am helping you, you know, and they have to have their voice inserted in it. And our experience with this movie is that they didn't. And that was amazing. Yeah. Like the Gustavo Castillon, who was a producer and investor in this, he was like, no, didn't give us any notes. He's like, I don't this is your project. Why would I have notes? And we're
Respect.
like, what?
Yes.
You're the executive or the investor. You don't have notes because I know many men that would have all of their opinions
Yeah,
all put upon in
exactly.
there. And he's like, no, you guys are the creatives, of course. Like, it's like we were going to make changes in scripts. And he's like, as long as it doesn't cost me money, I don't like more money. He's like, I don't care. Like, just do it. You're the creatives. I trust you. That's why I'm putting my money into this movie. And we're like, okay, wow.
Wow.
And then Cristo has always, we knew that, of course, he was going to give us a lot of exposure, him being in that movie. And he has been so graceful and amazing of being like, people want to talk to him about it. And he's like, yeah, me, but them. They did, they created, and he always gives us the spotlight in that sense. And then we ran out of money at some point during post-production. And we got a grant from LALIF, which they're an amazing organization that supports Latinos in media. And it was the strike. And then we were very lucky, but because it was the strike, that the Ted Lasso post-production house came in and to finish this movie.
Oh, wow.
And that's because of Cristo, and that's because of the strike, because they couldn't work on anything else. And it was like really a beautiful situation that Ted Lasso's amazing post-production team came in at that sound, and they did the last bit of editing, and it was just really great. And Gonzalo, the one that I mentioned before, the one that said this needs to be a feature, he fought for us all across the way when people were like, no, there needs to be somebody famous, people like 3 famous women. And he's like, no, it's them. It's them. And he could have convinced us because he's part of the company. We have a company together, and he could have just tried to convince us, and he never did. So the men were a beautiful group of men that saw the value in the women's voice and the women carrying the creative and pushing for that. And I'm very grateful for them.
Yes.
In that sense.
Yes.
More of those men, please.
Yes.
Yes,
More
please.
of those allies, please. More of those allies.
Yes.
Come on.
Absolutely.
Love that.
Love it. Love it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes. It makes me hopeful.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Hopeful for the world that
Yes.
their men exist like that in the
Yes.
world. Yeah. Yeah.
Women-led film all the way to
Yes.
the end.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I do want to speak about our own biases when we're writing, because that's something that we experience in a very interesting way. And, even though we consciously, and we're very conscious women, and trying to like stay away from like the typical women perception stereotypes, we, without knowing or without being conscious of it, we stepped into traps. And it was very interesting to realize that. So one of the beautiful things that we did was that we hired a script doctor. So a script doctor is a person that reads the script and basically diagnoses the script. And so it gives you like a bunch of, not notes, but a diagnosis of like, the structure is good, or like, this character doesn't make any sense, or this character doesn't have an arc, or like, like kind of like a diagnosis of the script. And she was from Spain, and she's amazing. And she was very grateful to say, two things. One, she was like, why are you making Sophia so ashamed of being sexual? Because before, Sophia's journey, Sophia's arc was, oh, I'm not going to drink anymore. And also, I'm not sleeping with any more men. And she's like, why not? Like, why? I'm like, oh, I don't know, because I feel like that's an arc. Like, no. She said, try to write her as a man. Write her as a man, do a whole pass, and write her as a man and see how she changes. So we changed the name, and we were like, okay, let's see, Sophia is a boy, and she's a brother of these 2 sisters. And it changed everything. Wow. It changed so much that she was able to curse and to have sex and to do the things that she did without apologizing who she was. Unapologetically, she was just herself.
Yes.
And she could, like, the problem, because people are like, oh, yeah, but I mean, she was having sex because the problem is not that she was having sex. The problem is that she was using sex to hide the pain that she was going through. But in my mind, after she healed, she still has a lot of sex. You know what I mean? The sex was not the problem. The way she used sex, it was the problem. It's like the same with anything, right? With alcohol. It's like, it's not the problem. Like, if you're drinking, the drink is not the problem. It's why you're drinking the drink.
Yeah.
Are you trying to hide yourself from the pain? And so that's why you're drinking. So then the drinking becomes a drinking problem. So the sex is not the problem. The way she was using sex, it became the problem. She was like trying to avoid her past and her emotions. And so it changed so much. And I was like so mind blown that even though I consciously wrote her in a specific way, we all did, I still fell for certain traps because I'm a movie lover, and like, unfortunately, that's a lot of the stereotypes that are based on. So now when you write your own thing, you start, they seep in.
Conditioned already.
Yeah.
Like,
They come out.
Yeah.
They start like coming out. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, like another thing that changed. And that was the previous director that we had. She said the problem between Sofia and Lucia was not the accident or the mom. It was a man. Just like, do you ever wonder why women on screen only fight for a man? It's like, is that the only reason why women fight? Is that the only reason why women stop talking to each other? And we're like, no. Wow. We fell into that one too. You know what I mean? And it's like really kind of taking accountability for the stuff that, like, even though you are conscious, you will fall into certain traps. And because you grow in here watching the movies that we have watched and seen and experienced, and now we're trying to do something different and create something different, you have to become also conscious of all those things that it would have worked. And I'm not saying the movie wouldn't have worked with those things. It would have worked. Right. But this is a different thing. And this is a different story. And that isn't that.
Change the narrative.
It's changing the
Flip
narrative.
The script.
Yes.
Something different.
Yes.
And it's authentic and different. From unique.
It's unique. And go figure that those two things that are not even like, oh my God, they like changed the cinema, you know, but like they do change the narrative of so many of the stories, you know, because a lot of our movies that we were getting inspired by is like In Her Shoes, you know. Have you guys seen In Her Shoes? Which is the two sisters, and like there's a man involved, or like I don't know, other movies that are about sisters, and usually like there's a man involved. And so we're like, oh well, yeah, it works. Yes, I mean it's proven to work. Those movies are successful. Like it's proven to work, but that doesn't mean that you have to follow it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And like, and then that has to mean that then you have to take responsibility for your own biases and your own narratives. And the own narratives are like, what is it to be Mexican? What is it to be a Latina? You know, and all of that. And then take accountability for it and then change it. Because once you know it, you don't know it. So then your responsibility, once you are aware of it, is to change it.
Yeah.
Because that's the responsibility of the creator. Is not like, oh yeah, but the studio told me. No, then you fight with the studio and I go like, well, this is it. You know, it's like it is a matter of that. We are in this industry sometimes so desperate for voices to be heard that we're willing to
bend.
But what's the price of that?
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
Yeah.
What is the price of that? It's like they're going to keep making the same thing, you guys, you know? So either you take 10 years sometimes to do the thing, but then you did your voice and you did your thing, or you sell out and then shit stays the same,
Right.
you know? And so it's like to be able to really move the needle, we have to be able to like, okay, yeah, maybe we walk away from the studio, you know, yes, maybe we do those things. But then at the long run, even if the movie is not like making millions and millions, what it is that it's out there, right? Now somebody gets to watch it and have a perception differently from our country and from the culture and from a sisterhood and from like what it means, you know, to be a sexual woman and like all of these things, you know, and it's important. And then the conversations that are happening are important. Like, I mean, it's blowing me a little bit, my mind on social media, because there's so much fights of exactly what you were saying that I wanted to comment on people criticizing other people for not speaking Spanish. And we were saying it's not your fault. We released a video on Instagram, that it became viral. And this video was all about, they're all Latinos attacking each other. That's what it is. And the attack comes from like, what is a Latino? What is not? What is a Chicana? What is not? What constitutes somebody calling themselves Latino? What constitutes somebody? I'm like, oh my God, why is that an issue? Like, what is that a problem? And like, but she doesn't speak Spanish and she does da. And I'm like, okay, do you guys understand why some people don't speak their original languages? Like, you don't understand why. It was illegal for some schools to speak another language, illegal. And so, of course, the parents, like your parents, were like, no, like, I don't want my child to either make fun of, either. So it is also a result of oppression in a sense. And we cannot make fun of the people that were oppressed. Why are we doing that to each other?
Right.
Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense to me. It's like, we have to be in with each other and be like, yeah, I'm sorry that your language was taken away from you because of oppression. It's not that you didn't want to learn it. It's not that your parents didn't want to teach it. Is that because of the way it was set up, that it couldn't. And so don't blame the oppressor, don't blame the oppressed, like blame the oppressor. Be like, I'm so sorry you didn't get to speak your own language and you didn't have that as a kid and you didn't have that now. And I'm so sorry, instead of like, well, you're not Latina if you don't speak Spanish and you're less than. And if you like, what is that bullshit? Let's cut that because we need to unite in order to freaking advance.
Exactly.
And it's just, it cannot be us against us. Like, we have to be like, oh, I'm so sorry. And if you want to learn your language, amazing. But also, if not, because you're also older, that's also amazing. You still are part of your culture. You still are Filipino. You're still a Latina. You're still Mexican. Like, that doesn't, like, we cannot strip people from their culture just because they don't experience their culture the same way as we do. It's just very unfair.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll stop talking now.
No, I love
so
that. I was
great.
like,
oh my gosh.
yes, you understand.
You totally get it.
You totally get it.
You totally get it.
Yeah,
and this is why we have these conversations.
Yeah, good. I'm so glad that you guys do. Yes.
We felt it. We went through it. And I do want to go back to everything you did with going against grain, because this is where we break the cycle. We break the cycle to all these things that we have been programmed to believe and think that we need to settle for this. No. You guys put your hearts and everything into this film, and you don't want to have any regrets of what you kind of let someone else dictate how the story was going to go. You stuck to it, and I'm like, again, I applaud you for creating such a beautiful film. And it's out there in the world, and y'all got to go see it.
It's on Amazon Prime. You can rent it on Amazon Prime or Apple, and then we're gonna be streaming in a platform very soon to come, starting I think in the middle of August. So I'll let you guys know when I can say, because I'm not allowed to say yet.
Okay.
But I can definitely tell you where we'll be streaming.
We will
and
amplify.
Hopefully, I mean, one of the other things is like we reached theaters, and that was just
That's huge.
I was just mind blown, because movies, even big movies now, they don't reach theaters a lot, and so that was kind of a dream come true, going to the movie theaters and seeing like Captain America, Paddington the Bear, and us, and so that was really amazing.
On the big screen.
And I mean, like, a Latina
That's a dream.
movie,
Yes.
made by women, spoken about our own country and having a bilingual title, because also people are like, bilingual title. And so, but in Amazon, you can also find it as The Three Sisters, because people were like, what is Las Tres? Okay, we give it to you guys. So, The Three Sisters, you can find it in there too, as well as that.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being so courageous.
Thank you.
And really sticking to what you believe in, what you value, and prioritizing what's so important. Because like you said, there was a studio that was going to give you guys a ton of money. And we all know in this economy, we could all use money. But thank you for not letting that get in the way of what's important, and for you guys to voice exactly how you feel about the world. And I think that just speaks volumes, and I'm so inspired by that, So thank you so much. Now I'm like going to start crying, but I'm very inspired right now. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you for inviting me into your beautiful space.
I know we're going to see more of you, Virginia. So what's next? What's next for you?
Hopefully I'll be everywhere. Okay. Okay, so we have interest on making this movie into a TV series. There's some people that are interested. So so it would be anything that happened before the pilgrimage.
Okay.
So there's so much.
So there's their character development,
Yes.
basically.
I see.
Everything that we did for 6 years, now we get to use it
Yes.
because there was so much that we couldn't because it's only a 90-minute film. So we're gonna also play with the grandmother did the pilgrimage with her sisters, so also playing with the past of like her sisters doing that pilgrimage together and how generational patterns come out to be.
Yeah.
Because they
There it
do,
is. They are
don't they?
there.
Don't we
This is
know?
why we like the cycle.
And so there's some interest in that show. So we're developing the TV show of the movie. So hopefully that will come through. We are developing a couple of also ideas for movies and just fun movies. I am always, creating. I just love creating. And I have a short film that I want to direct that it talks about women's periods and when they put certain women in Latin America still happens, and huts called red tents, and they used to be something sacred, and now it's not. Now it's these women die a lot, and because they're seeing as something like unholy and all of that stuff. And I wanted to talk about from that perspective of reclaiming the power as women with our bodies and our sexuality.
Yes.
Which is my purpose in life. It really is. And so whether I do it to Tantra and the podcast or whether I do it with films, that is kind of my purpose. And so a lot of opportunities sort of kind of happen with collaborations in other films or shows as a producer or as a collaborator. And then, the podcast that I keep growing, and I wanted to have a bigger platform, and it's a bilingual podcast. So one episode is in Spanish and then the next episode is in English.
Okay.
So a lot of people don't do that, but I don't care. Again, I'm just like,
You're a pioneer.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
are doing
I will
it.
do it. They're
Yes.
like, but build this community. I'm like, I have both communities and I will build them at the same time. Even if it takes me longer, it doesn't matter. Because they're both conversations that are so rich. And the podcast has a Spanish name for a reason, because there's a lot of content out there about sexuality in English, but there's not a lot of it in Spanish. And I get flagged on Instagram all day long. I get shadow banned all the time. I have almost 3 accounts because they get shadow banned a lot, just for the fact, and it's not like I'm running out naked anywhere. Not that has anything wrong with it, but I don't, because I speak about certain things and I speak about sexuality, and I think that it's important to talk about the things that they are, right? Vulva and orgasm and things. And that's why I started the podcast, so I could say it how it is and speak it. And I invite amazing, really interesting humans to talk on their healing journeys and to talk about all the healing modalities that exist when it comes down to let's go back into our bodies. And women, we need to.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the revolution, honestly. Like, every woman needs to live from her body and her pleasure and her joy, and the world will shift. I am a believer of that. And that is my purpose in life. And that feel like that's the revolution that I'm focusing on in this moment. And so I do it as many platforms as possibly can. And so I'll keep going with that.
Amazing.
Yeah,
And
powerful.
we need to just, as women, stop being shamed for talking about it, or being
Yes.
sexual, or being slut shamed, or whatever the labels are. So
And stop with one another. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, that is a sad thing.
Oh,
It's
I
like
know.
we're like,
Yeah.
we criticize each other's bodies more than like men into that size. And I'm like, I did a boundary with my family, which to them was like, what is
that?
this? Had to explain it to them and draw it and do a whole history lesson of what boundaries are. But I said, you have absolutely forbidden to talk about my body in any shape, form of anything. If I lose 80 pounds, you're not going to say anything. If I gain 150, you're not going to fucking say anything. But it's for your own good. You don't think I watch myself in the mirror? I know. Okay. So no, you're not like, what did you do to your eyes? What did you do to your, to paint your nails? No, Nothing. Not my pinky. If like my pinky's falling off, you don't get to say anything. Like nothing. And it's a training thing because for so long that is the bonding thing that the women in my family have, is speaking with each other about their bodies and like, oh my God, you look so skinny. What you did? Oh, I took these pills and I did that, and that was the bonding moment. And so I felt like I was getting out of the bonding. And I felt a little bit of an outsider because no, I'm not going to comment. And then I started creating that as my friends. And I said, I'm not going to comment on any of your guys' bodies. Now, I can still give you a compliment without commenting on your body.
Yeah.
I can still say, oh my God, you look so radiant. I'm like, wow, you're like, your energy, I'm feeling it so beautiful. Like, wow, like you feel so happy. You feel so many ways instead of like, you look so skinny.
Yeah.
What down? What you do to your skin? What happened? What are you using? I'm like, can we just fucking stop with that?
Yeah.
You want to know? Go to a dermatologist. Like, whatever. Fix it somewhere else. Like, I'm not your resource of anything of that.
Right,
And not that I'm gatekeeping. It's just like, that cannot be where we bond.
Yeah.
Which is like, if I gain, like, and I start noticing if I gain it, like any weight, they wouldn't comment on how beautiful I looked. And so it made me even more self-conscious. And like, it made me, those voices became louder. So I'm like, no, I do not comment on anybody's body, because also I don't know their history with their own body. I don't know if you lost 50 pounds because you were absolutely depressed or you were having an eating disorder, and here I am feeding into that.
Yeah.
So I don't know your history with your body. I don't know your relationship with it. Even if I'm best friends with you, I don't know it. So then I'm not gonna go and add into it.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I have like definitely changed. And for that, I also praise women that like want to wear what they want and whatever their body is, and not tear anybody down online or in person, or talking about other people's bodies, even behind their back.
Yeah.
It is just an energetically that we do not know, need. And we need the opposite of like, yes, queen, all those things.
Yes.
You know, AKA bring all the gays to bump us up like the way they do. Like, yes, queen, yes, diva, all the things. I'm like, yes, that's why I love my drag friends. They're all about, I'm like, yes, I left feeling so beautiful by myself because it's just like all about that. I'm like, I want people to feel like that in my presence, you know? And like, so let's not shame people for being sexual, for being who they are, or they want to explore in the world. There's room for exploration.
Yeah.
And we cannot be tearing each other down just because another person is exploring with their weight or their body or their hair color or whatever it is, you know?
Yeah,
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
All right, now turn the
so
mic
good.
off.
So
'cause
good,
I will.
so good. I'll be here all
So
night. I don't know. I got my drink.
So
I'll be here all
inspired.
night.
So inspired. So, Virginia, thank you so much for being on this podcast. It was so inspiring to hear your journey and what you're continuing to inspire everyone else and all of your projects that you're coming up with. So thank you so much for being here. We are so enthralled. So enthralled.
Yeah.
There's so much to take away from this
a lot.
conversation.
Thank you, Grant.
Yeah.
So love. And for our listeners, if you resonate with anything or relate to anything on this pod, please like, subscribe, share this with a friend, amplify these stories and these voices. And you can also, don't forget, you can catch Virginia on her podcast, Orgasmica. Streaming on which platforms?
And all the things. It's
All the things,
YouTube,
anywhere.
Spotify, Apple. All the ways. Also, the Instagram is at Orgasmica Pod and at sacred_alchemia. And my personal one is at Virginia Novello.
Amazing.
We will follow and keep subscribing. So thank you so much for being here
Thank you,
at Spotify
guys.
Studios.
Thank you for creating this. Thank you.
Thanks. Yay.
Until next time.
All right. We'll see you guys. Bye.
Thank you.